Babylon shadows dance, secrets hidden in the dark, the whispers range. Betrayal's breath, cold and sharp, echoes through the city, a hollow heart. Lies like conflicts tied and strung in tangled hearts, turn love to wrong in the neon glow. Truth does hide in the shadows where the night hides. Betrayal, Babylon, you'll fall. In the heart of darkness, you'll crumble small. Betrayal, Babylon, you'll fall. In the heart of darkness, you'll crumble small. Fits of steel, promises are kept. In the ruins where dreams are slept, the streets whisper, come and see. Babylon's fall is finally free. Betrayal, Babylon, you fall. In the heart of darkness, you'll crumble small. Betrayal, Babylon, you fall. In the heart of darkness, you'll crumble small. Betrayal, Babylon, you fall. In the heart of darkness, you'll crumble small.
At first glance, this looks like your typical, quiet American town. Quaint streets, charming homes, a picturesque waterfront. A place where families grow, businesses thrive, and neighbors, well, they look out for one another. But beneath the surface, behind the neatly painted storefronts and well-manicured lawns, lies something far more sinister. A deep underbelly of corruption, where power isn't earned, it's seized. Where justice isn't blind, it's bought. And where those who dare to stand against the system are met with retaliation, deception, and destruction. Here, backroom deals aren't just rumors. They're the foundation on which this town operates. Officials protect criminals, and criminals protect officials. Those in charge play by their own rules, rewriting laws to serve their own interests, while silencing anyone who dares to challenge them. For decades, the people of Babylon have been forced to look the other way, but the truth is no longer hidden. The corruption that has festered behind closed doors is now being dragged into the light, and once it's exposed, there's no going back. Welcome to the Babylon Betrayal. This isn't just a story about one man's fight against corruption. It's a warning, a cautionary tale about what happens when those in power believe they are untouchable, and when the system that's supposed to protect the people turns against them instead. This is the story of Austin Kitt, a man who did everything by the book, followed every rule, and still found himself caught in the crosshairs of a corrupt local government hell-bent on protecting itself at all costs. Let's start at the beginning. The American dream, owning a home, building a future, creating something that lasts. That's what Austin set out to do when he bought a piece of land in Babylon Village, New York. What he didn't know was that this wasn't just any small town. Beneath the surface, Babylon Village had been rotting from the inside, a stronghold of backroom deals, inside favors, and corruption so deep that the only way out was through total destruction. But Austin didn't know that yet. What he knew was this: he had a vision, and he had a plan. He hired a contractor, the plans were approved, the inspections were scheduled. And with each milestone, Austin was given the same confirmation. Your home is safe. Your home is structurally sound. Your home is good to go. The foundation? Faulty. The structure? Unstable. The home that was supposed to be a sanctuary was now a death trap. And when Austin asked how this could ever happen, how a home could pass 8 inspections and still be a disaster waiting to happen, That's when the lies began. Babylon Village wasn't just negligent, they were complicit. They weren't just bad at their jobs. They were covering for someone, and the deeper Austin dug, the uglier the truth became. Because this wasn't about one bad inspection, it wasn't even about one corrupt official. This was about an entire system working together to silence one man, protect their own, and make sure the truth never saw the light of day. But the truth has a funny way of coming out. And once Austin started asking questions, Babylon's biggest secret started to unravel. This is where the story begins. But trust me when I say, this is just the beginning.
The owner of 167 Araka Road, Mr. Austin Kitt, has made a claim against the village, for $350,000. On the advice of legal counsel, neither myself nor the Board of Trustees will answer any questions or make any statements.
Now, every scandal has its starting point. And in Austin Kitt's case, it all began with BRJ Contracting. On paper, they were just another construction company, but behind closed doors, they were part of something much bigger. This is Joe Panola, head of BRJ Contracting, the company handpicked to build Austin's home. But here's where things get interesting. Joe Panola wasn't just some random contractor. He was deeply connected to Babylon Village officials. Now meet Steve Feldman, Babylon Village's building inspector. His job to make sure construction projects are up to code, safe, and structurally sound. His actual role, protecting the village's interests and covering up their mistakes. And at the top of it all, Mayor Mary Adams, the woman who knew everything and made sure nothing got in the way of Babylon's carefully controlled system. What did these three have in common? A hidden agenda that was about to destroy one man's life. The home Austin paid for was supposed to be built by the book, every step of the way. It was inspected and signed off by Steve Feldman himself. But those inspections, they were a lie, a cover-up to keep BRJ Contracting's shoddy work hidden. 8 times, 8 inspections, all passed, and yet this home was built on a faulty foundation, riddled with structural failures that should have been caught on day one, but they weren't, because catching them would have meant exposing the village's dirty game. And here's the real kicker. This wasn't just negligence, this was deliberate. Because the more Austin pushed for answers, the clearer it became. This house was never meant to stand. At this point, Austin was starting to realize something wasn't right. He had a brand new home, passed inspection 8 times, and yet it wasn't safe to live in. So, like any rational person, he went to the Babylon Village Building Department to get the reports, the official documentation that should have explained how this was even possible. But instead of answers, Austin was given something else, a label, a designation that would follow him every step of the way as he fought for the truth. That label, threat and menace. We have audio evidence of Steve Feldman, the Babylon Village building inspector, outright refusing to release the reports, instead calling Austin a threat and a menace. Let's listen.
I need Steve Feldman, the building inspector.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah, I need all of your documentation. For the inspections.
Nope, you get nothing.
Why not?
Because you're a threat, you're a menace.
I'm a threat and a menace? How so? I'm trying to get the explanation for why you signed off on my property.
Think about that. A government official whose job is to ensure safety and transparency refuses to release public records about his own home to a homeowner. Not only that, but he was labeled a threat just for asking questions. This wasn't just negligence. This was the first strategic move to shut Austin down. Austin saw the corruption unfolding in real time. This wasn't just a mistake, this was a cover-up. And this was only the beginning. Austin Kitt had already been labeled a threat and a menace for simply asking for public records about his own home. He was refused his right to the inspection reports, And the building inspector, Steve Feldman, made it clear he was not getting them. But Austin wasn't about to back down. The next day, he walked back into the Babylon Village building department. This time, he wasn't just looking for answers, he was demanding them. But what happened next was straight out of a political thriller, except it wasn't fiction. It was a carefully orchestrated cover-up unfolding in real time. Austin knew what he saw. As he walked in, he watched Joe Panola, the contractor from BRJ Contracting, walk into the inspector's office. He wasn't mistaken. He saw the man clear as day. But when he asked the secretary about it, she denied Panola was even there. We have audio evidence of this outright lie. Let's listen.
Okay, but I asked them if that was my builder and why he was here. And they went and they said, that's not your builder. And they went back into some office and they came out with a piece of paper with a contractor on it with different license. And they said, this is who's...
No. There was another contractor here, like right either after you or before you, and he was dropping off paperwork, and I guess he looked, like from the pictures that I saw, he looked like your contractor.
Austin wasn't confused. He wasn't mistaken. He saw Panola go into the office with his own eyes. But the village had their story, and they were going to stick to it. So Austin pushed back. He told the secretary he just saw Panola walk in. And that's when the lie shifted. It wasn't him, she claimed. It was someone who looked like him. Austin had heard enough. He demanded to speak with Mayor Mary Adams. And when she finally entered the room, she did exactly what corrupt officials do when they're caught. She doubled down. She called Austin crazy. She forced the secretary to back up the lie that Panola was never in the building. But here's where things took an even more bizarre turn. We have audio evidence of the mayor claiming she didn't know what Joe Panola looks like. Let's listen.
You didn't know he was here?
No, I wouldn't know your contractor from a hole in the wall.
Why didn't he go to the main front desk like everyone else?
Why did you ask the main front desk? I don't know. I was in here doing my work.
You said that you were looking over my plans when I called back to the village.
That's right, I was. Very, very closely.
With who?
That's none of your business.
Think about that for a second. The mayor, who worked directly with BRJ Contracting, who was approved their projects, who has signed off on their work, suddenly has no idea what their lead contractor looks like. This wasn't just lying, this was gaslighting at its finest. Austin refused to back down, and that's when the confrontation reached a boiling point. The mayor, furious that Austin wouldn't just accept the lies, lost control. She dismissed him, mocked him, and made it crystal clear Babylon Village wasn't going to give him a single thing. Austin saw that corruption unfolding in real time. This wasn't just a mistake, this was a cover-up. And Babylon Village, they were just getting started. After Austin Kitt exposed the web of lies surrounding his home, inspections, and confronted Babylon Village officials, the retaliation began swiftly and brutally. Instead of admitting fault, Babylon Village doubled down. They blacklisted Austin, making sure that not only could he not move forward with his home, but that he couldn't even step foot inside a public building. The village began spreading dangerous lies. Officials whispered behind closed doors that Austin was a threat, a menace, a danger to public officials. These weren't just baseless accusations. They were part of a calculated strategy to destroy his credibility and erase his ability to fight back. But the lies didn't stop at whispers. False police reports were filed against Austin, claiming he was a danger, that he had made threats, that he was a risk to the public. These accusations were fabricated, designed to build a paper trail of lies that could be used against him. But here's the problem. We have video evidence that proves these reports were completely false.
Well, your own officers said that it was not credible already. So that's it.
Did you get arrested?
It's not credible. It never happened. I didn't threaten anyone ever.
Did you get arrested?
No, absolutely not. I didn't do anything wrong. I apologize.
He's also filming.
All right. I don't mean any disrespect.
I'm sorry?
Are you aware of the situation?
Yeah, I think I know everything.
Resolution.
What are we doing?
I just want to renew my building permit. He's saying I can't come in the building.
Okay, you can be in the building. Whether or not they want to renew the permit or not is, that's their own administrative process. It's nothing to do with me. is there anyone that can speak to him about renewing the permit?
Why would
I know the stance is probably going to be, that permits need to be amended or something to that effect, but
The bottom line from my point of view is I should just sign the book like everyone else and be able to proceed to do anything with the bill. If I want to look at my plans right now, if I want to do anything pertaining to my property, I shouldn't be stopped from doing so on a false letter.
The village has resolution on the books that then he's not allowed to.
that's not something I can enforce. Is a resolution where you guys do not want to do business with him. That is your guys' choice in your administrative process, but it's a publicly accessible building.
He's not supposed to be in this building.
I'm gonna have to call the
He's
police.
behind the door, or I'm calling the police.
Okay, fine.
Okay, so I'll just wait.
All right.
If you have a problem that you want to come in right now, the security don't want you to come in. If you have a problem with it, just handle it civilly. That's it. That's all we can tell you right now. They don't want you in here. We can't force them to let you in. So that's the decision that we're gonna have to make right now.
Like you said, you can have an attorney come, you can have an attorney represent you, you could do that.
So the mayor could just make a false police report and that's acceptable?
We're not talking about the police report. We're not talking about anything.
You're not a police officer. I'm talking to the police officer.
We're not dealing with that right now. And I have nothing
Why is
to do
nothing
with
that's
false police
important in the entire
Well, right
reason
now,
that
people-
everything that's predicated in this
Right.
letter is about a
That
threat?
false allegation.
Yes.
I get it, and you hung up on that.
Hung up?
It's
It's
not
a publicly owned building that can be restricted by the management, which is the board.
Which is what
Yes.
that's what they just
Management.
And they did,
Based on this threat?
It doesn't matter based on. Okay, so that's
So nothing matters? Reality doesn't matter? I'm not speaking, I'm talking to the cops. I'm a tax-paying resident. This is a public board meeting. There is absolutely nothing legally binding keeping me out of this building and speaking my mind at a podium about the wrongdoings that are happening to me.
We're not here for that. We're not here for that. We're here.
That's the important thing to be learned from this lesson. I did
They
nothing
don't want
wrong.
you in here. That's what we're
Based
here
on
for.
what? The discrimination?
Whatever is based off, whatever they base anything on that they don't want you here right now.
Would you accept that in your town that you live in?
Yeah, if they don't want me here, if security management don't want me in a building, I would just leave. That's what I would do.
If you did nothing wrong? You wouldn't accept that, sir.
I would accept that.
No, you would not
If
accept that.
management don't want me in a building, I would leave.
Based on something that's not
Whatever it's
true?
based off. And if I have a problem with it, I would take it up with them in court. I would sue them civilly for whatever based on discrimination, sue them civilly for it. That's what I'm telling
This is
you.
so wrong, guys.
Then came the next phase, the total shutdown. Austin was banned from entering public buildings. His calls ignored, his emails unanswered. Every avenue for resolution cut off. But Babylon Village wasn't done yet. They took their power play to a new extreme. They didn't just lock Austin out, they hired an entire security team with one purpose only: to keep one man, Austin Kitt, out of Babylon Village buildings. Let that sink in. A small town, a corrupt local government, using taxpayer money to fund a private security force to keep out one person, the man who dared to ask questions. This wasn't just about denying Austin access. This was about making him an example. They wanted to send a message, challenge Babylon Village, and this is what happens to you. After being blocked at every turn, Austin Kitt made a decision. He would sell the home as is. It was clear that Babylon Village had no intention of letting him live there peacefully, so he put the home on the market, and soon enough, a buyer stepped forward. John, a builder with years of experience, saw potential. He offered $1.25 million to buy the home. He knew the home needed work, but he was ready to take on the challenge. He wanted to restore it, fix the damage, and make it his family's home. But before finalizing the deal, John did what any smart buyer would do. He went to the Babylon Village Building Department to get records and approvals. And that's when the mayor herself stepped in. Mayor Mary Adams personally interfered with the sale. She lied directly to John, telling him the house was never inspected, no building permit was ever issued, the previous homeowner had passed away. All of these claims absolute lies. We have proof in writing that the home was inspected 8 times. We have records of the permits and the previous homeowner very much alive. But here's where things get even more damning. We have audio evidence of Mayor Mary Adams making these false claims herself.
But you have taken no responsibility probably for anything in your life, okay? Including this house and this mess, which is your fault. It's nobody else's, and it didn't have to go this way. I said to you, your attorney's a moron.
You spoke with him.
Yes, I did.
You did. You told him that the house was never inspected. And
That is not what I told you.
That's what he told me.
And you know what? I am not going back and forth with this. I'm not.
Well, this is what he told me, Mayor
Well,
Adams.
I am just telling you that
He said
it's
he's
not a conversation.
he said he's willing to testify
Mr.
to
Kitt,
what you said.
please just leave the building, okay? I don't know what your buyer told you. Okay?
I just told you what he told me.
Okay, well,
Did you tell him that it was never inspected?
Again, I am not going to answer these questions because you and I
We
are now
have
in a
the
lawsuit.
conversation recorded.
You and I
You
are
said
in a
the
lawsuit.
house was never inspected, Mayor
That
Adams.
is not what I said.
What did you say
and
then?
You and I are in a lawsuit, Mr. Kitt. I advise you to be very careful.
Is that a threat?
Number one, so I didn't record her. I will testify for you. I will get on a stand. I will do whatever you want.
What did this woman say?
So she basically says that you applied for a renovation for a 2-story house, and then you built whatever you want to build. I'm like,
Oh my
Mayor Adams, I'm like,
God.
you can't build a tree house in the village without getting caught. How are you building a 3-story house and not get caught and not have a stop work order? That's why I asked you, like, you have a stop work order.
Right. Why would they sign off on it all the way to the final framing inspection?
Exactly. She says there's no inspections, she told me. There's no inspections that exist.
Please stop.
Again, think about that. A sitting mayor, caught in her own words, blatantly lying to prevent Austin from selling his own home. This wasn't just dishonesty, this was outright fraud. John didn't know he was being lied to. All he knew was that the highest ranking official in Babylon Village was telling him that if he moved forward, he could be walking into a bureaucratic nightmare. So John did the only thing he could. He backed out. He told Austin point blank that he feared the village would sabotage him too. He knew what was happening, and he didn't want to be the next target. But John didn't just walk away. He agreed to testify. He knew what he had witnessed wasn't just unethical, it was illegal. What Mayor Adams did was tortious interference, an illegal act of sabotaging a business transaction, and John was willing to take the stand and say so. After all the lies, the cover-ups, and the blatant corruption, Austin Kitt took the next logical step. He filed an official ethics complaint. He submitted the complaint to the Long Island Board of Realtors Ethics Committee, outlining the blatant misconduct of Mayor Mary Adams. And guess what? They agreed. She was found in violation of 3 separate ethical codes and scheduled for a formal hearing. Finally, it seemed like some accountability was on the horizon. But then, just days before the hearing, everything changed. The hearing was abruptly canceled. The official reason? A conflict of interest. Think about it. The ethics committee ruled against the mayor, but somehow she avoided consequences. Instead of facing the hearing, her case was conveniently pushed off to a higher authority. To this day, there has been no update, no follow-up, no accountability. This wasn't just about bending the rules. This was a system protecting itself. When the corruption runs this deep, the mechanisms that are supposed to provide justice fail on purpose. The mayor wasn't just getting away with it. She was being shielded. And Austin, once again, left with nothing but more proof that the Babylon Village was rotten to the core. Even after everything, the blacklisting, the threats, the false reports, Austin Kitt still refused to back down. He pushed forward, trying to salvage what he could. So he did what any homeowner would do. He called for power installation. He was ready to move forward, but Babylon Village had other plans. 3 customer service agents from the power company independently confirmed that Mayor Mary Adams called and falsely claimed the home was already condemned. And we have a recorded statement from the lineman himself confirming that the power shutoff was ordered based on this lie.
I says, when I got there, you know, we always look to make sure that there's no hazards. I don't even know why I was going into this with her, but, you know, just being thorough, I said there was something missing off of the house side. I said, so we just changed out the service, gave a brand new service that we put on because it was missing a door knocker. So I said, you know, whatever. And she's like, well, that house is condemned. It's not supposed to be energized. And I said, well, I can't not energize it. I said, I can't just go on with you. I said, I'm ex-military and I follow orders. I said, as right now, my orders are to change out the house service.
Right.
So she says, okay, well, I says, would you like to speak to my supervisor? Because now this is already above my head.
Right.
You know, this isn't just the serviceman's, you know, whatever. So I said, hold on, I don't give out people's numbers. So I said, hold on one second. And I went to call up my supervisor, spoke to him, and
just like that, the power company cut off Austin's service. No notice, no warning, no due process. All based on a blatant fabrication. But then something unexpected happened. Public pressure mounted. People started asking questions, exposing what was going on. And under that scrutiny, the power company reinstated Austin's service. For a brief moment, it seemed like justice had won. Until a few days later, when the power was cut off again, Austin was told that he was flagged as a threat and that a second shutoff was required. Again, based on the false claim that the house was condemned, this time, it wasn't just a simple shutoff. The power company delivered a letter. Austin, always prepared, recorded the entire encounter.
Did you or did you not tell the electrical contractor today that the house is condemned?
I did not say that. You're lying.
I have it in writing, Mayor Adams. Mayor Adams, I have it in writing. I have it in writing.
But based on what we have here, it said all your building and renovation docs were in order.
Exactly.
So your electrical inspection, all that was fine.
Exactly.
But according to them, the building is not safe, so we were required to turn it off.
But they have to provide documentation. They can't just make a statement without any proof.
Well, I didn't get the documentation. I have to see who, it's revenue integrity, so I'd have to reach out to them to see what they sent. What's your...
But the village doesn't have any documentation. They never did any engineer reports or anything.
I don't know the legal ramifications when it comes to the town, but our revenue integrity was required to turn it off. That's all I can tell you from the town attorney. Is the building condemned?
No, did the town say that or the mayor say that?
Well, they were going to send us notification if it was condemned, but as per the town attorney, we were not allowed to keep the service on.
Wait, but who said it was condemned?
No, they say here that it said since the house is a danger to inhabitants and neighbors.
Where did they supply any documentation to support that, or did they just make a statement?
No, let me just see. Hold on one second.
But there are notes of the mayor saying that the house was condemned initially. That's all.
Correct.
That's okay.
Correct. Yeah, I don't know if that's like I said.
And what did we find out? The letter was nothing more than damage control. The village knew they had been caught lying about condemning the home, so they changed the language. No longer was it condemned. Now it was dangerous and uninhabitable. A last-ditch effort to rewrite history.
For me to condemn, or the village board to condemn any property in this village, first there has to be a public hearing. It has to be published that the house is going to be condemned. Then the board has to take a vote. Okay? Once the vote is taken, then the paperwork has to go to the Supreme Court. I can't go on a phone call and say I'm condemning a house. That was a lie. That was a total lie. And I heard that call that you made to her. You pretty much pulled it out of her throat to say it.
No, I actually talked to the people, and there's actually a recording of it.
Ask them for a copy of the letter that was sent from village attorney. There was no mention.
They did damage control after you said it was condemned.
It was not condemned, Mr. Kitten. If you're going to sit here and tell me that I'm a liar,
I know
it's a day.
I'm not arguing whether it's condemned or not. I know it's not condemned.
I did not condemn your home.
I know that. But you said that the house is condemned.
No, I did not say it was condemned.
Well, that's
I said there's somebody living in there.
You think in federal court when I have the recording of you saying that the house is condemned?
sign of someone lying is blinking.
Nah, it's more probably stress, actually. So, but thank you for making physical
The same
remarks.
way you did mine. Okay?
Physical
The same
remarks? I don't make any physical remarks about anybody.
You just said that I wasn't looking at you. Okay.
Because the whole thing, I asked you why you told
You are
PCG
living
the house is
on a property
condemned.
with no CO. It's against New York State
I didn't
law.
ask what it
That
takes.
is all
I didn't
the
ask.
SCG
I didn't
out there.
ask what it takes to
Okay.
condemn a house. I asked you.
And with an electrical hookup,
I
that
asked
shouldn't
you.
have been there.
I asked you why you told PCG the house.
I
is
never
condemned.
told them it was condemned.
So why would they say that then?
Because you probably pulled it out of them. I have no idea.
think
And the woman didn't say that, quite honestly. I listened to it over and over and over again. She didn't.
We
Okay?
have we have recorded line of you saying it.
I never said it was condemned. There's no CO on that property. You should not be living
You're going
in
off
there.
into other avenues.
There is no
You
CO.
told
Mr. Kitt, it's over. We're
you
done.
told Hawkeye lineman that it was
I
condemned.
absolutely
You told
not. I
PSCG.
absolutely did not.
All right,
I
we'll
absolutely
see.
did
We'll
not.
see when we go to Albany. This is gonna bode very well for you.
Don't threaten me.
I'm not.
You just did.
That's not a threat. That's
So if you get
if you lie under oath, it's going to be a problem.
But there are notes of the mayor saying that the house was condemned initially. That's all. That's okay.
She originally called, and the mayor of Babylon said that the house was condemned, right? And then... Yes, that's what they're stating. It stated that in the notes? Yeah, I have that in the notes here. What does it say? Because I'm... It looks like... It just says that it's kind of, that, because I guess they're questioning why the service was on, so it gets, just notated that she stated that the house is condemned.
After everything, after the blacklisting, the threats, the power shutoff, Babylon Village still wasn't done. They wanted to destroy Austin Kitt completely. Austin took to social media, posting about the corrupt and the shady letter he had received from the village. And then, the very next day, completely out of nowhere. But it didn't stop there. Almost immediately, a mysterious anonymous Facebook group appeared, designed solely to harass and smear Austin. The group's sole purpose, to paint Austin as a criminal, a thief, and a danger to the public. The false accusations started flooding social media. Austin is stealing from his company. Austin is threatening government officials. Austin is harassing public employees. Anonymous letters were even sent to his employer, urging them to fire him. This wasn't just random internet trolling. This was a coordinated attack, a calculated attempt to ruin Austin's life, financially, professionally, and socially, but they failed. Austin fought back. He exposed their lies. He challenged the accusations head on. But what does that tell us? They wanted him gone. They didn't just want to silence him, they wanted to erase him. By now it's clear that Mayor Mary Adams isn't just a corrupt official, she's part of something much bigger. She has deep, powerful connections, a network of corruption that has protected the guilty and silenced the innocent for decades. And Austin, he was just their latest target. Now meet Richard Schaefer, the unelected kingmaker of Babylon. Schaefer has held power for decades, pulling strings behind the scenes, making sure the right people, his people, stay in control. He's the gatekeeper, the enforcer, the man who ensures Babylon stays a rigged game. Then there's Lindsay Henry, the former Babylon Village court judge. Henry wasn't just some minor player. He was a key figure in the system that protected corruption. But then his mask slipped. Recently, he was arrested for strangling his own 17-year-old daughter. And yet, even after that, he's still being protected by the same people who cover for Mary Adams. And it goes even further. Enter James Burke, the disgraced former Suffolk County police chief. Burke wasn't just a bad cop, he was a criminal in uniform. He was linked to the cover-up of the Gigolo Beach murders, involved in a massive corruption scandal, and yet he was protected for years. These are the kinds of people Mary Adams calls her allies. And then there's the most chilling piece of all. Lindsay Henry's own secretary was recorded saying that he planned to kill Austin. Let that sink in. A sitting judge, a man with deep ties to the Babylon power structure, was openly discussing having Austin killed. And when Austin took this information to the authorities, nothing happened. Why? Because the corruption in Babylon runs so deep that the system doesn't hold itself accountable.
Yo, he's going down, dude. I have so many fucking people coming to me telling me that Lindsay made them leave their homes because he has the contractors. This guy was like, why does this guy hate me so much? I'm like, it's not that he hates you, bro. Like, you got on his radar and they want your property and they have the power to do it. Now they got their D guy doing it. I'm like, this is what they do. They hire contractors. The contractors mess up the house. They bring in a fake inspection guy. He checks off everything for the code, says it's all good. But when the real inspector comes, he says, no, this is no good. These code violations all over. They had to take. That's what he just told me. Another guy. They had to take. That guy was. That's what I'm told. That's what I'm talking about.
Lindsay told me there's something about him and that he's going to go, he knows where he hangs out at the post office. He's going to go there and kill him.
That's what he said.
The guy said he just got it.
The corruption in Babylon runs so deep that the system doesn't hold itself accountable. This isn't just about one corrupt mayor. This isn't just about one stolen home. This is about the entire system, an entire network of people who believe they are untouchable. They thought Austin would just give up. They thought they could silence him. They were wrong. The village of Babylon wasn't content with just blacklisting Austin, lying about his home, cutting off his power, and attacking his livelihood. They wanted to bury him completely. So Mayor Mary Adams took her campaign of destruction to the public stage. She went on record calling Austin's lawsuit frivolous, a desperate attempt, she claimed, a nuisance, a waste of time. But she didn't stop there. She took it a step further, publicly claiming that Austin had threatened her life.
Gotten a death threat that if I didn't work something out with the homeowner, that someone was going to show up in a board meeting with a 12 gauge.
Now, there was no evidence, no police reports to back it up, nothing. But that didn't matter, because in Babylon, when the mayor speaks, the system moves to protect her.
A police escort at one night to take me home from a board meeting here. There has been somebody, and I don't want to say who, that's been outside my house watching me leave in the morning.
Shortly after her baseless accusations, the village of Babylon passed an official resolution banning Austin from all government buildings. Again, let that sink in. A taxpayer, a homeowner, a resident, banned from entering buildings his tax dollars paid for. But Babylon Village didn't stop there. They went even further. They didn't just pass a ban, they hired private security, an entire team, just to block one man from stepping foot in Babylon Village.
You know that. You know I did absolutely nothing threatening. I just was walking into a public...
You are intimidating me right now. I'm feeling intimidated.
Maybe you're in the wrong business. If you feel intimidated by this, then you're in the wrong business. Because all I'm doing is walking into a board meeting.
Trying to intimidate me. I'm sorry.
I could say the same thing about you, but it's not working.
I'm staying back with you.
You're certainly not intimidating.
You're the one who's standing over me.
Oh, you're the one who has 7 guys here preventing me from coming into a public board meeting to speak intelligently.
Those guys are back there. You're free to go.
I don't want to go. I have something to say to the board. That's my First Amendment right. Do you know what that is?
Wow. Why are you acting so aggressively towards me right now? But you only do it when the camera's not facing you. Wow. That's terrible.
Keep going.
These people actually believe you?
Keep talking. Let the cops talk to you, and they'll tell you what to do. You don't have any authority.
No.
You don't even know what you're doing. You don't know why you're doing it. And they shouldn't be sending you guys into this position, especially not an 81-year-old man. That man shouldn't be put in this terrible position. How you doing, officers?
Hi, how are you?
How are you? Sorry.
Alright, so what's going on today?
I just came to a board meeting just to discuss the resolution they made. Excuse me. The resolution that they made. They said that I threatened the mayor's life, which never happened. It was already proven to be non-credible.
and they're still hiring this agency. He said his sole purpose here is to prevent me from coming into the building.
That is not what I said.
I have it recorded, sir.
I have one job, and that's just to not allow you into the building.
Your one job?
Yep.
This was pure intimidation. A public official weaponizing her power to silence someone exposing the truth. The final message from Mayor Mary Adams was clear. Austin was not going to be allowed to fight back. But what Babylon Village didn't understand is that Austin Kitt wasn't going to stop. He wasn't going to let them rewrite history. He wasn't going to let them get away with it. This fight wasn't over. For months, the village of Babylon played their game. Deny, deflect, destroy. But they made a fatal mistake. They underestimated the truth. The more Austin fought, the deeper the cracks in their lies became. The documents, the audio, the testimonies, it all added up. The power shut off, documented lies, the fake building permits, exposed, the mayor's public slander, verifiable falsehoods. And the deeper Austin dug, the more the village unraveled. What started as one corrupt official covering up faulty inspections had now evolved into a massive cover-up, real estate fraud, political corruption, and even death threats. They did everything they could to silence him, to erase him, to break him, but instead, they got caught. The truth is out now, and they can't run from it anymore. This is just the beginning. The Babylon Betrayal isn't just one story. It's a warning. It's a testament to what happens when corruption takes root and no one holds it accountable. Justice must be served, but justice only happens when people wake up and start paying attention. Austin's story is proof that when the system is rigged, the only way forward is to fight for the truth. They tried to destroy him, they tried to bury the truth, but they failed. The fight isn't over, it's only just begun. Stay tuned for part 2 to find out if justice is served.
Around 2019, my son and I sold our home in North Babylon with the intention of buying a home about a mile away in the village of Babylon. It seemed like it should have been an easy process. But then as soon as we sold and acquired the property and started building, literally all hell broke loose for no reason that we know about at all at the time. We know now more or less. But why two people should be assaulted like that for doing nothing other than moving from one house to another. 5 years later, I'm living in a trailer, and Austin is just trying to get by and trying to fight off these demons. It's unconscionable what has happened to us. We don't see any end in sight because it seems like the more we kick back, the more they come after us, and we're pretty much out on our own, and they have tried every method through subterfuge and lies, negativity on every level. It's practically demonic. Anyway, we're hoping that we'll get some help somewhere along the line. Many people have come along and they have progressed through the territory here only to be warned off, or they got scared for one reason or another. But what seems originally a simple case is turning into something apparently monumental. And at the end of every street here, there is the question, why? Why? Now, we don't know. All we know is that I'm still living in a trailer. It was minus 40 degrees here last week. And Austin is trying to keep it all together. But we won't be giving up, ever, because it's not our way. Anyway, that's about it for now. Thank you.
Babylon shadows dance, secrets hidden in the dark, but whispers range. Betrayal's breath, cold and sharp, and strung and tangled hearts turn love to wrong in the neon glow. Truth does hide in the shadows where the night hides. Betrayal, Babylon, you fall. In the heart of darkness you'll crumble small. Betrayal, Babylon, you fall. In the heart of darkness you'll crumble small. Fits of steel, promises are kept. In the ruins where dreams are slept, the streets whisper, come and see. Babylon's fall is finally free. Betrayal, Babylon, you fall. In the heart of darkness you'll crumble small. Betrayal, Babylon, you fall. In the heart of darkness you'll crumble small. Betrayal, Babylon, you fall. In the heart of darkness you'll crumble small.